Hey everybody, welcome back to Wrinkly Shirt. I'll take two. Today we are going over last night's SmackDown's yays and boos. I asked a bunch of you on Twitter for your hot takes, and I'm going to give them a yay or a boo. If you're new to the show, a yay means I agree, a boo means I disagree. It's not that deep, it's nothing crazier than that. Before we get started, please make sure you subscribe, leave your likes, leave your comments, follow me on everything. I just hit 10K on Instagram. That's crazy. I posted like a kind of a odd reel, and that got me there, so cool. All right, without further ado, let's get started. I really dislike there will be 4 to 5 matches at Money in the Bank. The ladder matches excuses, I should say, WWE for not having a great build and making a 6+ match card, but it's a Big 4 PLE and the build should have been longer and not rushed. I get where you're coming from. I don't think it's inherently wrong or a bad thing to want more wrestling on your Big 4 wrestling pay-per-view. So I think what you're asking is pretty justified, right? However, we've been doing the kind of smaller 4 to 5 shows for a while, and granted that's usually in B shows, and this isn't a B show, and if the rumors are true, I don't know if it's confirmed, but apparently either next year or the year after, Money in the Bank is going to 2 nights. So if we're doing a shorter card, 4 to 5 matches now, how are we getting Money in the Bank to like 2 nights? Now, granted, I think the tag team match is going to go long because that's a spectacle. And obviously you have the 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches that with entrances and the match itself are also long. So I think that kind of brings it up to a suitable length for a pay-per-view. I don't feel like we're going to be cheated out. So I'm going to give this a boo. Like I said, just because I disagree in terms of the length of the show. But like, I don't think it's inherently wrong or bad that you want or expect more wrestling. So I think that's a good thing. And I do agree that if we want to make it that 2-night Big 4, it's gotta be more on the level of a SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. But for now, it's a boo. It's also, wait a minute, it's not a Big 4 PLE. Technically, it's not. Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. So wait a minute. Yeah, I mean, granted, it should be a Big 4 PLE. I would call it a Big 5 PLE, and that's kind of the one that sneaks in there. But as of now, not really a Big 4. It's definitely the biggest B show. So I think that's even more an excuse. I mean, just more excuses, but that's where I'm at. Our next one says, as much as I dislike Logan Paul, I can't even lie, he cooked on that promo. He was spitting facts, and I hate it 100%. I think I tweeted out like, oh, Logan Paul just had a great promo. No! Because we all don't want to root for it or be happy when it happens. However, you gotta respect it and acknowledge it when it happens. I think this was great, and my hot take is he made Damian Priest promo earlier tonight kind of seem like a little bit of a rookie promo, if you ask me. There were 2 lines in here. Oh, there's one, I was gonna say, I didn't remember both of them. There's one I remember that was like, I could walk on water, and you people would still say that I'm doing it because I can't swim. There was another one he had like that. I forget what it is. Leave it in the comments if you remember. But yeah, man, he barely slipped. I think there was maybe like one moment where he kind of slipped. He said John's name accidentally, but he recovered and just added it to a list because he was listing off like, Jay, Seth. But he started with John, but he went John, Jay, Seth. It worked out. The guy's a natural. It is very funny to see on the internet how like the hate wrestling-wise kind of ebbs and flows so much where one month people are going to be like, oh, I admit, I don't like the guy, but he's a great wrestler. And the month after, it'll be like, he's the worst wrestler in the world, and his like in-ring hasn't changed. If not, it's gotten better. If anything, it's gotten better. I absolutely love this promo. It really sold me even more on this tag team match, and everyone I think did well. Cody Rhodes did great, being just Cody Rhodes, bringing in Jey Uso to the massive pop of the crowd. Cena, I think, was very, very solid. I know people are very critical these days of his kind of heel promos. I thought he was great, especially we're going to talk about a little later, but hyping up Logan Paul. And then Logan Paul really just taking the ball and running with it. I even love him kind of overstepping, right? He kind of like shoved Cena a little bit to listen to him, and like Cena and Logan kind of got in each other's faces, and maybe even a glimpse of like, oh, like there's some of that, like Cena, sure, it doesn't like being messed with, but maybe there's a little bit of like, ooh, maybe I don't love being totally on the bad guy's side, right? I thought it was great. If you haven't seen it yet, please go watch it because it is probably Logan's best promo, at least this year, but it's up there. This next one says, the past 2 SmackDown's third hour haven't felt like complete drags. I gotta give Logan Paul's a yay. Logan Paul, that last one's a yay, obviously if I didn't say it. This one, also a yay, which... a couple things. One is damn good because apparently I saw some report that was now going back on the previous report that SmackDown was going to go back to 2 hours in June or at the end of May, I believe. Now the report is that USA is pretty pleased with the length of SmackDown. They're like, keep it going, which like Capitalism. WWE is making more money with that third hour. There's more advertisement. So even if it was doing like fine and they were still making more money, WWE would still do that third hour for the sake of just having a third hour, regardless of how it affects the quality. So yeah, that's not shocking, but the glass half full related to this hot take is, at least if we're sticking with the third hour, at least there's some sort of light at the end of the tunnel here where the past few 3 hours haven't felt awful. So yeah, this is a yay. I agree. Granted, it does help, especially this week, that you did have John Cena, Logan Paul, Jey Uso, and Cody Rhodes in the ring to kind of really bring that last half hour home. And then last week you had the Wyatt Six return with that banger of a tag team match that was taking place regardless. So yeah, if we can keep up this trajectory, I mean, Raw is still entertainment-wise kicking SmackDown's ass. Granted, Raw, which I think it's perfect, 2.5 hours. It's usually like 220 to 240. I think it's beautiful. SmackDown on network television kind of has to fill that whole slot. So I don't know. I mean, it clearly can be done, but I'm not stoked for it not going back to 2 hours, but there's, yep. All right, going back to Logan Paul and Cena, this says, if you told me when I was 12 years old that John Cena would one day glaze Logan Paul, the Vine guy, I actually don't know what I would have said to you. Big time. This is a yay. I was never, I was in high school when Vine came out. I was definitely in that Vine era. I never got into like the Logan Paul, Jake Paul stuff. I was never a Pauler. I was never into their YouTube stuff, but I knew of them mainly from just like people roasting them online in terms of like, oh, like look at this cringy thing Logan Paul did. But yeah, with that said, seeing that goofy kid, I would have never thought that he'd be getting the cosign from John Cena. So this is a yay, I fully agree. And if I was Logan Paul, granted, he doesn't shut up about most things, but if I was Logan Paul and I got this, call it a glaze, call it a cosign from John Cena in terms of my wrestling ability and my entertainment quality, I would never shut up about it. You would be sick of me. Every single conversation I would have, like, oh, that's not what John Cena said about me. Oh, have you heard what John Cena said about me? I would be so annoying. I don't blame him. He must be on cloud 9. All right, I know I'm not going to like this next one. This next one says, Andrade was the worst choice out of the 3. He's great in the ring, but isn't someone anyone sees winning Money in the Bank. People were at least throwing Melo's name around like he had a chance to win. Fatu and Solo could have started a feud and done storyline stuff at Money in the Bank if he won. All right. You know me, this is an Andrade stan page, so I'm giving this a boo. So I think Andrade is a great choice. I thought he was the least likely to win, and I love surprises. I love surprises that involve some of my favorite wrestlers and people that I do think deserve a chance, maybe haven't gotten those chances super often. And also, it's Andrade in a ladder match, and Penta's also in that same ladder match. It's gonna be a ball. They're gonna do crazy shit. Sure, is he not gonna win? Probably not. Talking about Andrade here, but in the history of Money in the Bank, there's usually at minimum 1 to 4 guys that it's like, oh, that guy's clearly not winning. That's kind of the standard. Granted, they're the best Money in the Bank matches are when like, ooh, all these guys could have a chance. But it's not crazy to have people in there just for the sake of it being a good match, Well, sure, I agree with you. It was very unexpected. I thought, Carmelo might have made more sense, which, I don't know, people are saying like, oh, Carmelo would have won it. Carmelo could have won it. No, what have you been watching for the past 2 years? I love Carmelo. I want him to get on that pedestal, but he's not that much different than an Andrade where he hasn't really been booked super well. He's kind of just been stuck with The Miz for a while. His best of 7 feuds were great, or feud I should say was great, but then it got interrupted with like the LA Knight stuff. Carmelo hasn't been treated super well, so I don't know why. It's the same argument with Karrion Kross where it's like people are seeing these wrestlers who aren't treated well, and yes, I agree, you do want more for them, and they should be getting more, but it is crazy to be like, oh, Carmelo would have won Money in the Bank. Sure, there's a chance, but I don't think he was the shoo-in, As well as Karrion Kross, people are like, Karrion Kross should have gotten a qualifying match, which 100%, I agree, he deserves it. Is it shocking that he didn't get one? No, because he hasn't been on TV. I think, again, I'm kind of laughing and like joking about it, but like it isn't justified or isn't just that a guy like Carmelo and Karrion aren't getting that shine, and wins like these would prop them up. However, my point being is that people are acting like these are all guarantees and surefire, members in the qualifying matches or winners, whatever. It'd be great. I'd be rooting for him, but let's live in reality here. Jacob Fatu was one I absolutely thought was going to win. It's Jacob Fatu. Granted, it did play into the story with Solo kind of, getting on the apron and kind of, co-costing the match a little bit. It does make sense for their feud, though, for Solo to cost him. Plus, Jacob already has the US title. I think I've already said my 2 cents on, like, I don't know if the mid-card titles need to be involved, or the people holding them need to be involved in the Money in the Bank matches, And I want to make this clear, kind of back to what I was saying about, like, oh, it's not surprising that Karen or Carmelo aren't getting this shine. Andrade is in that camp. If Andrade lost this match, it'd be the same conversation of, like, oh, well, that sucks, but, like, yeah, I expected him to lose. Like I said, I didn't think he was going to win at all. But that's why it's such a cool and special moment when someone like Karrion, Andrade, and Carmelo do get an opportunity that they deserve or whatever. So I think because they're kind of all in the same camp of, like, needing more, it's like not everyone can win or be in the Money in the Bank match at the same time, when especially there's other storylines and other higher profile people to get in it. You know what I mean? Not everything can happen at once. So it's like Andrade is going to be in the match. It's going to be awesome. Do I wish Carmelo was in it to also do some cool flippy shit? 1,000%. But, let's not act like, oh, like it was the most obvious Carmelo was winning, because that's crazy. And to be clear, I'm not saying that this person who posted this comment was saying a lot of what I was saying. I kind of took the ball and ran a little bit in terms of the conversation. You know what I mean? Okay, moving on. All right, to counteract that last point, speaking of Andrade, this says Andrade winning was great to see. This is a yay. Don't even need to read the rest of it, but I'm going to. I'm happy that he's getting some premium live event TV time. I know a lot of people wanted Carmelo Hayes to win, but he has current storylines to keep him afloat. If Andrade balls out in his ladder match, he could get a big push coming up soon. Fully agree. I mean, you look at Jacob and Carmelo, and they both are ones with storylines. Jacob can have compelling stuff with Solo that still needs to be fleshed out. Carmelo needs to now feud with The Miz and kick The Miz's ass. And granted, yes, again, I did want Carmelo in the Money in the Bank match, but it's not the end of the world. And I'm also going to hold my breath and not expect for Andrade to maybe I'm traumatized. Maybe I'm just like traumatized by like not getting my expectations up. These are all things I want. I want Andrade to perform well. I want Andrade to then get a massive push. However, history's history, and he could compete very, very well and then not get a push. So I'm not holding my breath for the sake of like, I don't want to be disappointed and mad when things that should happen don't happen. Does that make sense? Our next one says, Logan and Cena is the best possible way to book right now. Logan is the best choice for that alliance. Fully agree. I even like the stuff where at Saturday night's main event, John Cena kind of said to Jay in the back, like, hey, what if this YouTuber, this internet star wins the world title? Wouldn't that, ruin wrestling? Where it's very self-aware of who Logan Paul is. And they have a similar, or I should say, complementary direction, right? Logan Paul is going to always be looked at as the outsider and the non-wrestler that's in these high-profile matches. John Cena is kind of pushing that agenda a little more in terms of his whole ruin wrestling thing and blah, blah, blah. And also, I think it's smart where, the crowd is still cheering Cena a lot of the time. So what better way to get him booed at a high-level pay-per-view, PLE, is to pair him with the one of the biggest heels in the company in terms of the person that has the most, call it kayfabe heat, actual heat, whatever. He gets booed out the building regardless. So pairing up with a guy like him makes sense, especially against your two biggest babyface in Jay and Cody. So I like it. I'm a fan of it. This is getting a yay. This next one says, the women's US title division is getting stale. For like the last few weeks, the title has only been surrounding Zelina and Chelsea. What makes it worse is I don't want Julia to join that division, as I'd rather her chase Tiffany's title. All right, this is getting a yay, but we're going to talk about it. But ultimately, I agree with you that I think the US title does need to expand a little bit. WWE right now has the deepest and most talented women's roster they've ever had. So you could for sure throw more women in there and more like, higher profile women in there in terms of like a Bayley or something. Where I think I had that discussion before where I used to be like, oh, a main eventer like Bayley shouldn't go after the mid-card title. Where now my thinking is kind of different, where I think a main eventer elevates that title. I don't think it's crazy for, I don't think it's crazy for someone just want a title, period. And while world titles are occupied, someone like Bayley, who should be showcased, can go after a mid-card title. I think Julia, though, would be a good choice, because I actually don't know how much the mainstream, like just Raw and SmackDown audience is familiar with Julia. So I think starting her in the mid-card and then letting her graduate to the main event scene, I don't think is a crazy idea. Plus, if you want an injection of talent, like, bang, there you go, Julia. A lot of people are saying Jordan Grace to also join to kind of help the division, but ultimately I'm giving this a yay. As much as I also do want Julia to chase Tiffany's title, but Tiffany has, the Nia stuff, kind of ended, but you also have Naomi now in the Money in the Bank match, and then, Jade Cargill kind of also hanging around. But ultimately, I think we both want, more and the best for the women's US title, so this is a yay. All right, this next one says, yays and boos should totally be called woos and boos. This is getting a boo next. That's not the name of the show, not the name of the show. The name of the show is yays and boos. We're not the t-shirts are already printed. There's no actual t-shirts. I'm just kidding. This next one says, this was my first WWE event. Hell yeah. Shout out you. You'll never forget your first event. My first event, I think I talked about before, was I went to a house show. I think I talked about it when Sabu passed. So I went to a house show, and it was a small little like arena where like the Undertaker and Kane had to like duck through this doorway to enter. Sabu was there. I think I saw, who else did I see? Jericho, maybe Punk. I don't know. It was great. I'll never, as much as I don't really remember the matches, but I'll never forget the time like with my dad and with my friends. But yeah, hell yeah. It seemed like a pretty solid SmackDown for it to be your first event. So yeah, hell yeah. I hope for more events for you in the future. All right, this next one says, Naomi keeps impressing with her attire, character work, and in-ring every time. She deserves this win 1,000%. I think she was the best choice. I did expect Jade Cargill to win just kind of because she's Jade Cargill. However, we are kind of leaning off that, like, you know, Jade has to win everything. Jade is this unstoppable force, which I do appreciate. You kind of book yourself in the corner when you do that. And Naomi is always one of the most impressive, and she's been in so many Money in the Bank matches. She's so impressive in them. You can't have a women's Money in the Bank match at this point without Naomi because she's so great in them. And then to her character work, where last night, when she was talking about like, Bianca, I'm gonna put you in a wheelchair like your mom. Before that, she started crying, like on command crying, and then she kind of snapped out of it with her eyes all red and looked at Bianca again with like all the red eyes and still like a little bit of the makeup running. Unreal. Brilliant. I mean, that is like Broadway, soap opera, whatever stuff. Big fan Naomi. I really like how she's able to reinvent her stuff now that she's a heel. I like the caution stuff. I like all the branding with the razors. And yeah, I mean, it's really great. I'm really excited to see kind of where this Jade and Bianca stuff goes and how it's going to kind of bleed back into Bianca and be it Naomi, be it Jade. Because Jade and Bianca kind of had this little moment of like, you know, Jade kind of looking at her and Jade being like, I'm gonna come back for you. Like, I'm gonna handle this business, but we're not done. So yeah, if I didn't say it already, this is ultimately, or getting ultimate yay. There's no graphic for, there's no ultimate yay. That'd be cool if there was something on the screen that came up, but not gonna do that. All right, I think that's the last one today. That's where I'm gonna end it here. Folks, thank you for submitting your yays and boos. If there's a hot take or a yay or a boo that I missed, didn't get to, that you have, we didn't talk about, please leave it in the comments, as well as your thoughts and opinions on everything we talked about today. Please make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave your comments, check out everything else on this channel. I put out a bunch of videos here pretty randomly. Please check out Stash Club stuff, podcast, bunch of quizzes over there. It's a good time. All right, follow me on everything. I'll see you next time. Bye.